One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on to his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only mental can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Witch's report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning to you ladies and gentlemen. Man, we are barely alive, but we are here. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. So today, we're a little bit hungover today, but that's all right. That's what we do out here. Once in a while, we're allowed to do that. All right, so we got quite a bit of things that happened over the weekend, as you guys probably know. A lot of things have happened within the last 24 hours, actually. We have the partial government shutdown. We're going to be talking about that and what it is and what they're shutting down for and how long we're looking at, as well as Epstein files latest. Yes, there's a lot of shit going on with the Epstein files. It's getting messy as all fuck.
Stupid.
And then we have Groundhog Day and top stories. So that's the way that I labeled it. But what we are actually going to be discussing today, because I couldn't fit it all into the title, new Epstein files reveal more about his interactions with rich and famous people. So yes, as you guys know, there's a lot of people, not just Trump. There's a lot of people that are named in this, and it's messy as fuck. Iran leader warns U.S. Attack would spark, quote, regional war in Middle East. I kind of doubt that. I mean, honestly, they can't really do shit. You can't even deal with the Jews in your backyard, you know? Anyways, Minneapolis ICE operations allowed to continue after judge's ruling, and that's a big one. I think a lot of people were waiting on this turnout. Excuse me, sorry. We've been waiting for this turnout from the judge's ruling. So Iran executes political detainees as Trump weighs military options. And then we have government shutdown could end Tuesday, Speaker Johnson says. And now the Senate basically passed with open, flying colors essentially for no government shutdown. But then the House, because we have a very slight majority on there. And we also have, I can't get this out of my throat. And then we also have, a ton of, well, I wouldn't say a ton. There's about 7 Republicans that are kind of siding with the Democrats in the House. So it's causing an issue. Anyways, we can hope that all ends tomorrow. And then we got Kennedy Center to close for 2 years as Trump announces major renovations. This is kind of like irrelevant a little bit, but it's in the news and we're going to talk about it. Trump says India will start buying Venezuelan oil as industry sees major overhaul. I don't know why that was like a brain twister right there. I don't know what was going on there. And in regards to the Groundhog Day, I can't say this guy's name. I have no idea how to say his name, but we'll just call him Phil. Sees his shadow. I'm not really sure what they're necessarily talking about. I think they're talking about the actual groundhog itself, but we do have that for you guys. Several New Yorkers without power amid brutal cold stretch. Yes, they lost. I mean, there was a lot of people, thousands of people that lost their electricity yesterday. And I'm really hoping by now they've got it figured out, because right now is not the time for any of us to be losing power during the cold. So we got Hegseth speaks to recruits in Florida, and that is what we're looking at for the morning so far. All right. So good morning to all you legends. I very much appreciate you guys. Let me go ahead and do the call to actions, say hi, and then we'll get right into this. Make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys are brand new to the channel, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, reporting the world news, geopolitics, as well as American politics. But we also have members only on Saturday mornings, so we have a great time over there. But let's get the money part over. Please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. Make sure you guys show up for that and check it out. Also, it's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We have a Discord server for all of you legends. We have a majority of you guys, I would say like 95% of you guys in there. Let's go ahead and make that number 100%. All the links and all that stuff is down in the description down below of any live video. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms right here that are scrolling around the screen here. And listen, I will, anything comes my way, I've got my email up, and I'll read it out loud just like a super chat. So I very much appreciate you guys. All right. Good morning to all you legends. We got Naomi in the building, as well as Steve Posey and Steve Easy. Good morning to you, gentlemen. We got Jimmy Mac. Sorry, guys. I'm like not sick, but I just got a lot of phlegm right now. Sucks. Two Will Jesus. We got Pablo. I am from America. Yes, I am from America. What up, Tommy? Good morning to you. We got Warland in the building, as well as Carney's Ride, my man. Good morning. And we broke the snow record here. We got 12 inches. Damn, bro. Are you serious? We didn't get any snow. We got a little bit of ice, but not really on the roads or anything. We got Mountain Woman. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. We got Randy. Shout out to my man. Scrolling down. Going down as fast as we possibly can. All right. Looks like we said hi to you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get right into this. We got 120 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen as well as hit the like button. Let's go. Epstein files first.
We are continuing to track everything having to do with the case against Jeffrey Epstein, as I want to read some of the latest reporting courtesy of the Associated Press. Newly disclosed U.S. government files on Epstein.
What's up, Dylan Patterson? Good morning.
Epstein have prompted the resignation of a top official in Slovakia and revived calls in Britain for a former prince to share what he knows with authorities about Epstein's links to powerful individuals around the world. The fallout comes just a day after the Justice Department began releasing a massive trove of files that offers more details about Epstein's interactions with the rich and famous after he served time for sex crimes in Florida. Joining us now to break it all down is Eric Tucker. He is a reporter with the Associated Press, and he is also involved in dissecting all of these files, millions of them. Eric, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's just start with the basics then. What new information do we know from this latest release?
So if you think back to the document released from last month, the headline really centered on photographs
Why would they get this guy out of all people?
Why are you gay?
Just ask.
that we saw former President Bill Clinton. This time around, I think what we're really seeing is that Epstein had a variety of associations with all sorts of other prominent figures in business, philanthropic, and social circles, including in New York City. So we saw a lot of emails and text messages concerning his friendships or associations with people like Elon Musk, Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, and even the co-owner of the New York Giants, Steve Tisch. And we're really seeing from this correspondence frequent back and forth, and really a reflection that Jeffrey Epstein was somebody who was well known in sort of high society New York.
So you've just named a few really high-profile names within this first answer. So, Eric, the next question would be, do any of these records indicate any criminal wrongdoing by anyone that has been named here, specifically the new names that you have talked about?
Oh, I'm sure.
So we don't have any indication through these records of any sort of untoward behavior.
What? I don't know, man.
kind of allegations that were deemed to be potentially criminal. And in fact, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has said as recently as this morning that the Justice Department has reviewed basically everything and has determined that there's no basis for any additional criminal investigation or charge. I would say one sort of interesting element that we're continuing to learn about is former Prince Andrew, who the Justice Department in 2020 had actually sought to interview as part of an investigation. And there are now renewed calls, as you mentioned earlier, including from the Prime Minister of Britain, for former Prince Andrew to reveal to American investigators whatever he may have known about Epstein's activities.
So now that we are getting some more of this information, I think it was about 3 million pages. We mentioned it right off the top. So we have a lot of documents here. I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's a lot. 3 million.
Is this the entire batch of files that we have, or are we expecting several more pages of documents to come out?
We are not expecting more documents to come out, but it's worth noting that the Justice Department has made clear that they did collect all sorts of additional records.
So this is like the official everything out there kind of thing?
Records that are deemed not fit for release. And so there are a lot of redactions of photographs and names that I think we're never going to
What's up, Ben Talk? Good morning.
necessarily see.
Happy Monday.
We're hearing already from members of Congress that they're not entirely satisfied with the document releases. Epstein's victims as well have contended that there's more that needs to come out. But from the Justice Department perspective, the sense that we got on Friday from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is that this is really it, and they're not anticipating additional big tranches of disclosures.
So I think it's important now to talk about why so many of these pages were initially withheld and why the timeline has worked out this way.
So that's a great question. You know, we were under the impression, I think, collectively in the public last month that the Justice Department, of course, it was required to under law, was going to provide by December 19th the entire trove of Epstein documents.
Very true, Keith.
They subsequently said that they had identified millions more that for whatever reason they had not earlier seen. And they said that was going to require weeks to go through and redact and make sure that no additional information was revealed that could identify
Good morning, Wildcard.
potential victims. And so I think that caught the public, including journalists, by surprise from people who thought that the Justice Department was going to be complying with this law that required it by December 19th to release all these records. The Justice Department said, frankly, it was doing its best and that the need for diligence and a thorough review trumped whatever obligation it had to sort of reveal everything all at once.
This guy speaks weird. Just got to point it
I want to
out.
refer now to a social media post courtesy of Reuters. So take a look at this. We aired out some of these comments. He was speaking to reporters about
Yes,
Air
make
Force
sure you
One,
guys
but
hit that
this
like
post
button,
says
man.
US
Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side, please. It goes a long way. You don't have to like all this craziness that's happening in the country or around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you for your laborious work.
President Donald Trump said that newly released Justice Department files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein cleared him of any wrongdoing. So in terms of where President Trump lands within the entirety of these files that we have seen
What up, Salty? Good morning.
that have been released by the DOJ, where does the president stand within this case?
Grayson, appreciate
You know,
it.
there's really been no evidence from the release of the files of any sort of significant or substantive or really corroborated allegations. One of the things against the president, I mean, and one of the things that I think that,
Biker Babe, good morning to you as well. We got a whole bunch of legends of you guys popping up just now. It's awesome.
you know, we did see from this latest tranche is that the FBI did catalog a variety of various allegations and claims that have been made by different women who purported to allege some sort of wrongdoing by President Trump.
First of all, real quick, we got our first donation of the morning. I got to give a special shout out to Alfred Patterson coming in saying, send me money now. Absolutely. Let's get the money part over for damn sure.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money, me, money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Thank you for the $5, my man. I very much appreciate that. Making it rain up in the building. Very much appreciate that. We got Rob's neighbor, Carrie, in the building. Shout out to my man saying, what's up? What's up, man?
We've heard now Tom
I saw, dude.
Blanche say that they don't have any indication that any of those were true or valid accusations. And so I imagine
Papa
that's
Penguin?
what President Trump is referring to, that there's no indication that there's anything in here that will require additional investigation of him.
I think it would be worth also noting to the viewers and just explaining, again, with millions of pages of files that have to be reviewed. I mean, what is the process there when we have reporters kind of digging into all of this? How does that work? Where do you even start?
Yeah, it's been a really, difficult, cumbersome process. And I think that, a responsible read of these records means that just because something is cataloged in some way, just because somebody says something to law enforcement about somebody, does not mean that that's the truth. So one of the things that really comes through in these records is that they collected and cataloged basically whatever was presented to them, whether or not it was true or not. And oftentimes there's no indication there was any follow-up to determine that it was true. And so I think that requires a degree of careful reporting and scrutiny as the
What's up, Tommy? I saw you in here earlier. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
public is going through it, as the media is going through it, to make sure that kind of context is made clear.
Extra
Obviously, the
surprise.
emails and the correspondence do speak for themselves in a certain sense, although we can't always know from the records what additional follow-up communication
Two-Wheel Jesus coming in with the 99 cents, my man. Very much appreciate the super sticker. Thank you very much for that. We got Hardwire 1%er in the building, by the way, and Pablo. Good morning to you guys.
Or travel might have occurred, but we do know that there were invitations from Jeffrey Epstein to significant prominent people to his island, for instance, but oftentimes it's not clear what happened after that.
Yeah, no
Speaking
kidding,
of this
Naomi.
correspondence, Eric, in your detailing of this and reading all of these files, is there any correspondence that stood out to you or surprised you the most?
I think there were names in here that we had not really seen, or names, to the extent that we knew that
Well, we kind of had suspicion, but we didn't really know. So there are names that were dropped that was like, oh, now it's confirmed.
there was a connection that we might not have known sort of the specific and substance of it. Steve Bannon, for instance, really comes through as somebody who had a significant relationship, friendship really with Jeffrey Epstein in the months before Epstein died in New York. And so you see a lot of back and forth there. I think that was notable. Steve Tisch is a co-owner of the New York Giants, and we sort of see that Epstein was involved in kind of scouting women. Tisch, for his part, has issued a statement saying that he would email about adult women and other topics with Jeffrey Epstein, and that it's an association that he deeply regrets.
Okay, so we're gonna move on because we got like 11 stories to get through. All right, we're moving on into Iran. Iran leader warns U.S. attack would spark, quote, regional war in the Middle East. I really do think that's a bunch of cap.
Stop the cap.
Because they can't even handle Israel that's right there in their backyard. So I don't understand how they could be like making threats to, the region. Yeah, I think it's just it's a stretch. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and listen to what they've got to say.
Speaking on many topics, including the very latest with Iran. And I did want to share more on that as you're taking a look at some video of some of the protests and the conflicts happening in Iran. This comes as Iran's supreme leader earlier today warned that any attack by the United States would spark a regional war in the Mideast, further escalating tensions as President Trump has threatened to militarily strike Iran over its crackdown on recent nationwide protests. The comments from Iran's supreme leader are the most direct threat that he has made so far, as the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and associated American warships are in the Arabian Sea.
Yep, they're right there holding the line and not allowing any oil to leave or to go into Iran.
Sent by Trump there after Tehran's bloody crackdown on nationwide protests. It does remain unclear whether President Trump will use force, but he has repeatedly said Iran.
Hell yeah, Hardwire, get your sick day in. You deserve it.
Wants to negotiate and has brought up Tehran's nuclear program as another issue that he wants to see resolved. And we were just hearing from him aboard Air Force One. He was asked by a reporter on whether he has decided on a strike against Iran. President Trump responding, I certainly can't tell you that, before adding, but we do have very big, powerful ships heading in that direction. I hope they negotiate something that is acceptable. President Trump did not directly answer when asked about whether Tehran would be emboldened if the U.S. opted not to launch strikes on Iran, saying some people think that, some people don't. But he does say he believes Iran is negotiating seriously with the U.S., stressing that he hopes an acceptable deal can be brokered. He also said that the U.S. will not share military plans with Gulf allies.
Oh, you're actually sick. I didn't know that you were actually sick. I thought you were like, hey, I'm entitled to a sick day. I've been here for 3 days or 3 years or whatever, and I don't feel like going in. I thought that's what you meant. But if you're actually sick, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks.
While negotiating with Iran, even as U.S. naval forces surge into the region. Also today, the Speaker of Iran's parliament said the Islamic Republic now considers all European Union militaries to be terrorist groups after the bloc declared the country's paramilitary Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps a terror group over its crackdown on nationwide protests.
Oh, yeah, you did say that, bro. I'm sorry that I forgot about that. That's terrible.
This announcement by a former Revolutionary Guard commander comes as the Islamic Republic also planned live fire military drills for Sunday and Monday. And to speak more on this, I do want to bring in the Deputy Director, National Council of Resistance of Iran, U.S. Representative's Office.
Oh, interesting. We actually got a representative to talk on this, not just some analyst.
As well as a strategic policy consulting, the president for that group and author of the Iran threat, that is Ali Reza Jafarzadeh, who joins us right now on Live Now from Fox. And Ali Reza, we appreciate you joining us here live.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be on your show, Sonny.
So I do want to start off with these negotiations that President Trump had referred to. And I wanted to ask you this, how you interpret President Trump's statement that Iran is negotiating seriously with the United States.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the absolute desperation and weakness of the Iranian regime, because every time they come to the negotiating table, at least they suggest that they want to be at the negotiating table, is after they have received major
Very good points there, Papa Penguin, for damn sure.
blows or been weak or desperate. I remember back in 2002 when our movement, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, which acts as the parliament in exile, we exposed the nuclear site in Natanz and Iraq in August of 2002. And in less than a year, we had a series of major press conferences exposing the entire picture of the.
One of the things I really hate about these kind of things is every time that we're talking about warfare, usually shape-shifting, you have all these people that always got to go back in time, talk about, oh, what happened in 2000, and then what happened in 2004, and then what, all this shit, whatever. Yes, context is very important, but one thing that really fucking grinds my gears, because I've been doing this for a minute now, reporting news and all that, I'd rather you address the situation. I don't need you to dance around and give me a politically correct answer, and I don't need you to set the stage. Just say what the fuck is happening. I don't need all the backstory and all that. I know the backstory, so I don't need it.
Nuclear weapons program of the Iran regime, then the regime that was really under a lot of international pressure suggested that let's sit down and talk. They got the Europeans involved. They got the Americans, of course, Europeans who had taken the lead at the time. And they promised that we're going to abandon our nuclear weapons program. We're going to tell you the whole picture. All of they started a game that is, that obviously didn't go anywhere. But it started as
shit. What's up, TNT, my man? Good morning.
The result of the weakness and vulnerability of the Iran regime. We have seen so many other cases similar to that. Now, speaking of the current situation, this is a regime that just killed thousands of the protesters who want to change in the country. It engulfed nearly 400 cities in all 31 provinces of the country.
And the official number is somewhere about 5,000 to 6,000.
People chanting death to the dictator, death to the supreme leader Khamenei, death to the oppressor be the Shah, the supreme leader. This is not a situation that is favorable to the Ayatollahs. They were on the verge of collapse. And then before that, they had received so many blows in the region. They lost some of their biggest allies, Hezbollah in Lebanon. Assad, their biggest regional ally, was gone. So we're talking about a desperate regime, and that's why. I think my suggestion to all the counterparts is that you see the weakness, try to capitalize on it, build up more and more pressure on the Iran regime. This is a time to hold the regime accountable and make them pay for what they have done.
And speaking of that, today, the Supreme Leader threatened that U.S. strikes on Iran would lead to a regional war. Do you see evidence that negotiations are producing concrete changes in Iran's behavior, or are they primarily tactical?
I'm going to be honest. Iran is just talking out of their fucking ass. We got an armada right there right now surrounding them, making sure nothing goes in or out of Iran, meaning oil in particular. They're not really in the position at the moment, especially with our fleet being there currently.
Cool.
And our surrounding areas of us actually having military bases in the region.
Well, obviously the regime has two choices. One is to really back down and end their terrorism, end their advanced nuclear weapons program, end their missile program, and most importantly, end the killing of their own population, which, based on the behavior and the nature of this regime, the chances for that are nearly zero. The other option is just to ratchet up and first of all, try to buy time and try to drag as far as they can, but there's not too much room left for them. And then, have a pose of, posing that they're going to confront. But they're no match for anything. This is a regime.
They're no match for anything. True. Your missiles is not enough. I mean, the reason why they are the #1 hoarder of missiles and all of that, which is, I mean, it is good to have missiles, of course. But the reason why they have so many and they're the #1 is because they don't even have an Air Force. That's their Air Force and that's their defense, is thousands of missiles, hypersonics, all sorts of shit.
That's much weaker than it was a year ago or even a few weeks ago. So you will see a lot of hot air there.
Oh shit, real quick, we got Sterling Will gifting out a membership. Bro, I very much appreciate that. Making it rain in the building, and you're not only helping me, you're helping someone in the Breakfast Club, man. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for that. We got Organized Insanity. It's been a minute since I've seen OI in here. Great to see you in the chat. By the way, we've got 238 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. Very much appreciate that. Let's go
But
back
I see
into
a
this.
lot of desperation in the middle of the words of the Supreme Leader and other officials of the Iran regime.
TVT,
And
my
speaking
man.
of that, do you believe that the threat of military action strengthens or weaknesses diplomatic leverage with Tehran?
Well, one thing I know for the past, over 4 decades in dealing with the Ayatollahs ruling Iran, they only understand the language of decisiveness and firmness.
What's up, Bob, up there in Canada? Great to see you in the chat, bro. Good morning.
Every time the world reached out to them trying to give them concessions, not only didn't change the behavior of the Iran regime, it further emboldened them. I just gave you the example of the nuclear negotiations back in 2002 when we first exposed the nuclear sites of Iran. There was a very genuine opportunity available for the world to end the nuclear weapons program of the Iran regime. Instead, they got into dealings, negotiations, giving them concessions, pallets of cash, and all kinds of concessions, none of which actually produce anything. That's why I think it's extremely important to understand that there's only one language that Tehran understands. And I think if they want
Real quick, we got Brother So Loud over there from the boondocks of North Carolina. Shout out to my man. Good morning.
to really ratchet up the pressure on the Iran regime for them to really understand what's happening, is that they need to count on the Iranian people, not the regime, because Iran is 93 million population. It's ruled by the very small group of clerics and the Revolutionary Guards who have the gun and the repressive forces. But the vast majority of the Iranian people are opposed to this regime. That's where you want to reach out. That's where you want to count. That's the future of Iran. So I would focus on that. I would be very specific, recognizing the right of the people of Iran to overthrow this regime, recognizing the right of those resistance units
Yep. I guess you can say that word again.
that belong to the main Iranian opposition, the MEK, that are confronting Revolutionary Guards, saying they have the right to fight the Revolutionary Guards and end the rule of the clerics.
And we've been hearing that from President Trump as he was speaking to the Iranian people and the protesters, telling them not to give up and that he would support them. But looking.
All right, so we don't need to look forward. We don't need to look back here in these situations. I think we understand the landscape. We're going to move on. Again, we have many stories that we've got to get through this morning, so we're doing our best to cram everything in. All right, we're going to move over to Minneapolis ICE operations allowed to continue after judge's ruling. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This was a big ordeal, and we were all waiting for this judgment. This ruling, I mean.
You're taking a live look out of Minneapolis, where an anti-ICE protest has formed outside a federal building. And you can see from some of those barricades that they've put into place the words "ICE out now." We are following all of the developments from Minneapolis as Operation Metro Surge will continue in the state after a federal judge denied a preliminary injunction that was sought by the state's attorney general as well as the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul. To speak more on this, I do want to bring on attorney Kelly Hyman to talk about the legal aspects of it. And Kelly, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Great to see you.
So I do want to start off with the federal judge's ruling to allow Operation Metro Surge to continue. What is the legal basis for that decision?
So when we look at the legal basis, we have to remember that this was a preliminary injunction, and the plaintiff, that being the state.
Right now, I'm looking up how cold it is today. It actually warmed up today. So it's 38 degrees here in North Alabama right now, and we're going to have a high of 47 today, which is phenomenal because the last few days, we haven't really gotten past 30 degrees, really. Our lowest we got to so far was 9 degrees, but felt like negative. No, it was like 11 degrees, and it felt like -9, it said, with the wind chill. I was like, holy shit, man, I am not going outside today, I guess.
Minnesota has the burden. Now, this is an extraordinary remedy, and what it would mean is, in fact, that we
What's up, Seymour? Good morning.
stop this operation. So ICE would leave the state. However, the judge made a determination that based on the facts presented by the plaintiff, they did not meet that burden as to the injunction. And so therefore, the operation will proceed. However, the judge did not rule on the merits of the complaint.
So the argument of the lawsuit, Kelly, claims that Operation Metro Surge was violating constitutional protections. For that argument, what are the constitutional protections that people legally have?
So when we look at our Constitution, there are amendments to the Constitution. Such amendments, a lot of people know the First Amendment, right to speech, the Second Amendment, right to bear arms, to carry a gun, and another one, the 10th Amendment. And what the 10th Amendment means is states' rights. So the founders said that certain things were left up to the state. The state had a right for the federal government not to infringe upon its right. So the complaint largely is based on the 10th Amendment. And what that means is the argument that the federal government, by bringing ICE to its state, is infringing on the state of Minnesota's rights for its own policies and procedures.
When we take a look at this ruling, what can you share with us in terms of any legal precedent that it sets with ICE enforcement operations, not just in Minneapolis and Minnesota, but any state and city here in the United States?
Well, this applied only to the state. So from the judge's determination as to the injunction relief is the state's law. It wouldn't apply as binding authority on other states. And
the way that, state law and state jurisdiction versus and sovereignty versus federal authority and as well as their jurisdiction, it is whatever that is not allocated to the government, and whatever is left over is what the states have the right to. So unless it's specifically named, and for instance, like immigration, every state in the nation signed on, and that's the way that works. So everybody knew the deal when they signed on to be a part of the United States. And this is just the way it goes. They have jurisdiction. And I don't care what someone in the city would tell you, unbiased opinion. It's not an opinion, it's objectively a fact that they do have jurisdiction in all cities, all towns, all across America. They can be anywhere they want. They could be in Anchorage, Alaska right fucking now. They can. They have jurisdiction. They can be in Hawaii. They could be fucking over here in Alabama. They can be anywhere to do their job.
The ruling has no bearing on the merits of the case. And what that means is that the complaint is still going to proceed and the plaintiff...
No, you are incorrect. You don't understand the law. You don't understand states' rights versus federal rights or federal authority. You have no idea then.
Has the burden and has to prove, in fact, that the defendant, being the government, violated the 10th Amendment.
Taking a look at the broader aspect of it, there have been arguments in terms of the level of tensions and, the violence that has erupted with protests and maybe some of these operations. But when it comes to the legal aspect of ICE's operation, making sure that they remove violent criminal immigrants who are here in the country illegally, but also trying to maintain peace as well. When it comes to that legal protection, how does that work with that balance? Because I have to imagine,
Sounds good. I guess you're a fucking idiot. You're an activist, and I would be embarrassed to have a lawyer, quote unquote, that has no idea how it fucking works. You're a retard. Get the fuck out of here.
It's very nuanced and oftentimes tenuous.
It needs to balance immigration's rights, but then also we have to look at constitutional rights as well, because we, the people, have certain constitutional rights, whether it's the First Amendment under free speech or to peacefully protest. And based on our constitutional rights, it has to be balanced between the law enforcement and, in fact, the immigration's law and rights as well.
Kelly, we appreciate you taking the time to share that legal perspective as we continue to follow all of the developments out of Minneapolis. We appreciate you joining us.
Great to see you.
And I did want to share once again this live look out of Minneapolis as there is an anti-ICE protest happening here outside one of the federal buildings. It's about maybe 17 people or so. We haven't seen any sort of conflicts right now. They have mostly kept to this one area outside the federal building. But we're going to monitor this live look and, of course, bring you any developments as we continue to cover all angles of this developing story. We'll be right back.
Well, shit. Well, all right, we're moving on. That was one of the very first stories that we covered this morning that we finished the whole thing. We're going to move on and get a update, though, of Iran executes political detainees as Trump weighs military options. Now, we kind of already understand the landscape of what's going on with Iran, so we're not going to play this whole thing. Let's just go ahead and see if we have any updates.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. My name is Josh Breslow, and I do want to get you right back into some of the big stories that we are covering on this Sunday here. And we continue to follow the growing tension between the U.S. and Iran. Iran's supreme leader warning today that any attack by the U.S. would spark a, quote, regional war in the Middle East. Now, the comments came in a series of X posts today on the X account of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, quote, "The Americans should know if they start a war, this time it will be a regional war." Now, he went on to say that Americans sometimes talk about war, saying we will come with warships and aircrafts is nothing new. The Iranian nation is not affected by such talk. They shouldn't try to intimidate the Iranian nation with such things.
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat. And now we're actually hearing what the Iran supreme leader is actually saying.
Now, those posts ended with, quote, "We are not the initiators of war. We do not seek to oppress anyone. We do not seek to attack any country. However, anyone who seeks to attack or cause harm will face a decisive blow from the Iranian nation." Again, those coming in here just a bit earlier today. The comments from the supreme leader come as the Wall Street Journal is reporting via Pentagon sources that the U.S. could conduct, quote, "limited strikes on Iran as early as today if ordered." And the Israel War Room on X saying the chief of staff for the Israel Defense Forces is in Washington, or was this weekend, to talk Iran and what happens next. President Trump was asked about Iran earlier today, just about an hour ago, as he attended a wedding at Mar-a-Lago.
Sir, on Iran, the supreme leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Give me a response to that. Why wouldn't he say?
Yeah, she's like, I like how he just put up his hands like that. He was like, bruh. I got to see that again.
The supreme leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Give me a response to that.
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close. Couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Again, that was President Trump just about an hour ago there as he attended a wedding at Mar-a-Lago, asked about this and other topics. Now, I do want to discuss really all of these developments as there are so many of them. Let's bring in Jonathan Saye, Iran analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to be here with us.
Hi, Josh. It's great to be with you again.
Oh, and not this guy. Oh, this guy is such a... This guy. I got a question.
Why are you gay?
Okay, here we go.
Asking you about the comments here that were made by Ali Khamenei. Now, we saw those kind of posted in what some might refer to as an X rant a bit earlier.
What's up, Crystal Kitten? Great to see you in the chat.
Here on today. What do you make of all of that? Is that a threat, or what should we take away from it, if anything?
It is a deliberate threat, not just against the U.S. personnel, but also U.S. embassies in the region. Other officials have threatened to go after different diplomatic outlets.
Yes, embassies, as well as military bases. I mean, so they're all subject. Anyways, I really am not interested in what this guy has got to say. We're gonna move on. Government shutdown could end Tuesday, because I don't know if you guys know or you probably do, but we're in a partial government shutdown right now. And Speaker Johnson of the House came out, and I guess he talks about government shutdown could end Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So I think that's what we would hope for, right? So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll talk about it.
Do want to get you right back into your headlines here at this hour as we take a live look over the Capitol building in D.C. You can see right there on your screen. And with the partial government shutdown now in day 2, it appears likely that it will last until at least Tuesday. A senior House Republican telling Fox's Chad Pergram the House will not vote on the Senate-passed bill until Tuesday, and its passage is contingent on the House aligning with the Senate.
What's up, Bill, man? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far.
Speaker Mike Johnson appeared on Fox News Sunday earlier on today.
Pitbull, my
I'll have
man
a lot of
over there in
conversations to have with
UK.
individual Republican members over the next 24 hours or so. We'll get all this done by Tuesday, I'm convinced. We do have to do it by way of a rule process, which will be probably on our own. I don't understand why anybody would have a problem with this, though. Remember, the bills that have already been passed, we're going to do it again. It's a formality at this point. The Homeland Security bill is important, and we have important negotiations. The president is leading this. It's his play call to do it this way. He has already conceded that he wants to turn down the volume, so to speak, and make sure this is done in an appropriate way. What a great step it was to put Tom Homan in charge of the situation in Minneapolis and Minnesota. He has 40 years experience. He's brought a steady hand to the wheel, and all that is to be applauded. And he himself has already acknowledged to Leader Schumer in the Senate, and I'm sure he'll say the same to House Democrats, that
Now, I believe that this happened right here, this exact scene or whatever, this what we're seeing right now, was on Sunday, and I believe it happened in the evening, I think. But I could be wrong, could have been the afternoon. But nonetheless, happened yesterday.
some of the reforms and the processes are fine with them. For example, we want body cameras on Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. In fact, in the bill that the Democrats are currently rejecting, we put $20 million into that legislation to allow for that. So, look, I think there's some healthy conversations in good faith that'll be had over the next couple of days, and I look forward to that.
And that was Mike Johnson there as he spoke on Fox News Sunday. Now, that shutdown clock on the bottom right-hand side of your screen does continue to run here. You can see it's at 1 day, 14 hours, 3 minutes, and 15 seconds. Now, Fox's Chad Pergram saying the House Rules Committee was set to meet today, but that has now been moved to tomorrow, and House Republicans believe they do have the votes to pass the bill. President Trump and Democrats carving out Homeland Security funding, allowing Congress to debate new restrictions on federal immigration reform. Now, under the compromise, Homeland Security...
Yes, thank you for that, by the way, Randy. Hitting that like button definitely goes a long way, man. Double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side as well.
Funding will continue at current levels for about 2 weeks. That'll give Republicans time to consider Democrat demands to unmask agents, require additional warrants, and allow local authorities to help investigate any incidents. The funding bill passed the Senate late Friday by a vote of 71 to 29, and the government will remain partially shut down until the House can pass the bill. So what does all this mean? I do want to bring in an expert to help break all of this down for us. Ed Jenkins is a professor of practice and accounting at Penn State, joining us now live. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks, Josh. It's great to be with you.
And first off, the big question I want to ask is kind of an overarching question here as we go in reverse. Can you explain exactly what a federal government shutdown is, but also how a partial shutdown kind of differs from it?
I sure can. So a shutdown, of course, occurs whenever the government no longer has congressional...
Honestly, at this point, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even tell you, Steve. Now, what I will say is what we can do as Americans is if we don't like what we are seeing, we need to start working on a local level. This is exactly why I have now gotten myself in the race to be involved here on a local level for politics. I don't like what I'm seeing, so I'm going to change what I can, right? The things that I can get and where they benefit, everyone's going to benefit, my people are going to benefit. All of it's laid out, you know what I mean? And that's the way that I think we truly fix these kind of things is we just look out for each other on a local level. Federal, dude, rest in peace to the feds. I mean, it's over. Federal government is just on a whole different fucking playing field. So, but you can get yourself into the federal government by getting into local government first.
Authority to continue spending money or operating. So that, of course, happens when Congress is unable to gain consensus on tax or revenue bills and spending appropriations bills. So that's going to bring us to a full shutdown if we don't pass any of the appropriations bills. We have passed 6 of them so far, and we have 6 on the table now. And as you mentioned, and Speaker Johnson mentioned, we have a deal on the table to pass the 5 additional appropriations bills plus the Homeland Security extension for 2 weeks. So that'll give us a partial shutdown for a couple of days. In terms of how significant that is, again, it's only a few days, so hopefully there isn't a significant gross domestic product impact and a limited impact on people's lives.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Are people out there, the average American, are they going to feel any sort of impacts this weekend or in the coming?
There's always impacts from all these things. Now, it may not happen immediately where you're feeling an impact, maybe aside from your stock market and shit like that. You could feel differences on, investing and stuff like that, where you're going to feel the the ramifications almost immediately. But everything else, yeah, every day that we're shut down, I forget how many fucking billions of dollars it cost us.
Days if the shutdown does continue.
Well, as the speaker mentioned, they're planning on passing the 5 bills plus the extension for Homeland Security on Tuesday. So not a lot is going to happen. And many of those departments have accepted employees who are not going to be furloughed, as well as employees who have to come to work anyway, even though they're not getting paid. So I don't anticipate us.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the government that has to go in and listen, man, that's on you. You know, you join politics and stuff like that. That's part of the ramifications is if you shut down the government, well, guess what? You guys are going without a check. And that's the way it should be. But see, unfortunately, those people making those decisions, those guys get paid whether it's shut down or not, which I think is wrong. I think if you have the ability to vote to shut down the fucking government and funding and everything, then you should be personally affected as well. I don't think it should be you're the exception. Fuck that. You just voted for the shutdown, so you shouldn't get a fucking paycheck either.
Substantial impact on folks' lives from the day or 2 or maybe 3 that we suffer a partial shutdown here. And remember, 5 or 6 of the appropriations bills are already enacted, so it's only for those 6 that have yet to be enacted.
A lot of this, obviously, about the Department of Homeland Security and the situation that's playing out there over in Minneapolis. Wanted to ask what happens and get your take here if there isn't an agreement reached between the Democrats and Republicans on the DHS funding in 2 weeks.
Well, that'll be interesting. Hopefully the other 5 bills will pass and we'll have all those in place. If Homeland Security, however, doesn't come or is not enacted, there are a number of departments that will suffer a shutdown. Now, remember, many of the Homeland Security employees are accepted employees, so they'll still continue to work and continue to be paid. A number of them have to work and unfortunately not get paid, and then some will be furloughed.
So the ones that don't vote to shut down the government, the ones that do work inside the government, though, they're not voting for it to be one way or another because they don't get a vote like that. The U.S. House and the U.S. Senate gets that vote, okay? So everyone else below them, which are, by the way, millions and millions of people in the government, millions. It's unreal. And those people have to go to work and not get a check. But those same fucking ones, I can't believe that we have allowed that.
But you have to think about, well, what are the departments within Homeland Security that are going to be affected? And those departments include ones like Custom and Border Protection. They include Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which we were just talking about on the show. The TSA, and that's one that has a significant impact on folks right away because, hey, it could clog the airports if things don't run smoothly. And we experienced that in the fall where while those workers still continue to have to work, getting them to work because they may choose to maybe be sick that day can be a bit of a challenge. Secret Service is in here as well, as is the Coast Guard. So our maritime safety is at risk here. But again, many of these employees are going to be accepted. We also have in this piece of the budget, FEMA. And so FEMA could be a significant issue, particularly as here on the East Coast.
Man, FEMA is always an issue, bro.
We're experiencing some volatile weather, at least in the Southeast. But if there are any natural disasters, FEMA could be impacted. However, they have some reserves kind of held back that they could continue to operate.
But to give a consolidated thing here, when could we see this? Well, Mike Johnson, Speaker for the House, did say shutdown could end Tuesday. But, you know, that kind of nomenclature, could, should, all of these kind of things, whatever. Yeah, I guess it's possible that it could be all good tomorrow, but we'll see about that. We're already 2 days into the shutdown now. All right, we're moving on. Kennedy Center to close for 2 years as Trump announces major renovations. This is not that big of a deal, but I did see it in the media, so we're going to play it quickly. At least I don't think it's a big deal. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Take you out right now to some breaking news as more renovations in our nation's capital. This now in terms of the Kennedy Center, as we're learning.
Oh, okay. So it is.
Information here on this
is
Sunday
interesting.
evening. A post from Fox News, as President Trump said, the Kennedy Center will close later this year for a 2-period year to undergo these renovations.
So it's going to be shut down for 2 years for these renovations. How much money are we spending?
This is some new information here on Live Now from Fox. I want to give you some details on what we're learning right now as Trump's announcement on social media follows a wave of cancellations since Trump ousted the previous leadership and added his name to the fielding. Trump made no mention in his post of the recent cancellations. He also announced his plan days after the premiere of Melania. A documentary of the First Lady was shown at the storied venue. The proposal, he said, is subject to approval by the board of the Kennedy Center, which has been stocked with hand-picked allies. Trump himself chairs the center's...
I got you, Pablo. So there's 2 live streams happening at the same time. One that is normal that you're on right now, and then there's a vertical side for phones, stuff like that. And it's a whole different algorithm on YouTube. It's like the short side. Have you ever seen shorts and stuff like that? It basically puts me in the same algorithm as the shorts. So, anyways.
Board of Trustees. And we're also hearing on social media from the president himself, a long post on Truth Social saying, quote, after a 1-year review of the Trump Kennedy Center that has taken place with contractors, musical experts, art institutions, and other advisors and consultants deciding between either construction with closure or reopening or partial construction while continuing.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, TVT, yes. Of course, I'm not going to say we should only ever fucking focus at home, because that's not necessarily what the president does. Yes, of course, that, more so the vice president is kind of supposed to deal with internal a little bit more than you have the president dealing with the outer regions, right? You're dealing with the world. But you're also taking care of home too. So there's a healthy mix here. I think that Trump truly is got too many obligations outside of America right now. But he is trying to show obligation in America at the same time with like ICE and stuff like that. So I would personally like him to do a little bit less outside of the United States and focus a little bit more at home, but
entertainment operations. Though a much longer period of time working in and around the performances, I determined that the Kennedy Center, if temporarily closed for construction, revitalization, and complete rebuilding, can be without question the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. If we don't close, the quality of construction will not be nearly as good, and the time to completion because of interruptions with audiences from the many events using the facility will be much longer. The temporary closure will produce a much faster and higher quality result. He goes on to say, based on these findings and totally subject to board approval, I have determined that the fastest way to...
Do me a favor, Naomi. Can you drop the link for the vertical side for Pablo? He wants to be able to go over there and check it out. Can you drop that link in there for him? Or right now, he's in the vertical. He's in the vertical. Can you somehow send him... Wait, links don't really work on the vertical side. He is on the vertical side. I didn't notice that. I thought he was on the horizontal. Anyways, yeah.
Bring the Trump Kennedy Center.
You may have to go back, Pablo, and go to my live streams.
Is to cease entertainment operations for an approximate 2-year period of time with a scheduled grand reopening that will rival and surpass anything that has taken place with respect to such a facility before. He closes it out here on Live Now from Fox, talking about that, mentioning all that the Kennedy Center is. So, of course, these are major developments, saying this important decision based on input from many highly respected experts will take a tired, broken, and dilapidated center, one that has been in bad condition both financially and structurally for many years, and turn it into a world-class area of arts, music, and entertainment. So the Trump Kennedy Center, the Kennedy Center will close for 2 years for renovations. And this is not...
Yeah, I mean, that is a big deal. And I wonder how much money it's taking to do that. I'd like to know that number. Anyways, sorry about that. A little sick, whatever. And hungover at the same time. Okay, we're going to move into something in regards to India. Trump says India will start buying Venezuelan oil as industry sees major overhaul. I don't know why it's labeled like that, but let's go ahead and let's just, whatever, we'll play it. See what's going on here.
All right, we'll come back in here to Live
And
Now.
Quickly, before we do, we haven't embraced our fuck-ups yet. That's what we have to do.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace the process. All right, here we go. We're going into India now. Talking about Trump talking about India will start buying Venezuela oil as we see some major oversight of this whole thing.
Let's turn to another top story, and it's been almost a month since the U.S. captured the leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and some developments this week as the Treasury Department made a move that would authorize companies to buy and sell Venezuelan oil under certain conditions. And this general license grants provide private...
What up, 5150? Good morning.
...global companies access to the opportunity to invest into Venezuela, which is currently under U.S. sanctions. So we're going to continue to follow this here on Live Now from Fox, this major international headline and some of the fallout, the reaction since that day back in early January. Let's be joined right now by James Michaelis from Politico. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And more broadly, just before we get into some of the minor details of this.
Yeah, India is a major BRICS. I mean, they're one of the main, I mean, they're the I in BRICS. So, yeah, definitely going to be an interesting development with this.
Where do we stand in terms of these reserves, and how big of a deal was the Treasury Department making this move to authorize those companies this week?
Yeah, well, great to be with you, Andy.
Real quick before this person answers. Steve, yes, of course I did see that. Yes, absolutely. Does that mean the bull run's over? No, it's not. We did see, I think, 4 resets, essentially, and it was pretty wild to watch. And we actually set records and everything for the downfall, you know. But just like anything else, you know, a lot of people cater to their emotions in the aspect of like, oh, I'm now going to sell. Or, you know, I take the dips. Anytime that there's a big major dip like this is when I buy a fuck ton of, you know, whatever I'm investing in. Now, gold and silver, yeah, you can damn near bet your ass I'm going to be buying a fuck ton. You know what I mean?
It's continues to be a major topic here on the oil beat. You know, the Trump administration has been making this push to get international oil companies into Venezuela to help with the country's recovery economically and politically. And so this step by the Treasury Department
What up, SNS? Thank you for
just
that.
One more step in that direction. Basically what it does is it authorizes additional companies to be able to participate in the trading of Venezuelan oil, which is currently being controlled by the United States. Initially, there had been just 2 firms that the Trump administration had authorized to go in and start selling Venezuela's oil. And now more companies will be authorized to start coming in and doing that.
Yeah, this is a major move. And obviously, people know now Venezuela, the largest proven oil reserve in the world. But speaking on a global kind of scale, why is this important in a world economy fashion?
Yeah, so the Venezuela, despite having the world's largest oil reserves, really hasn't been producing.
You know what's crazy about it is we had like a 30% plus drop of gold, or specifically silver, but both of them took a major hit. And the truth is, I'm still up more than double. Damn, cuh.
To the level that it has historically. That's largely because of the socialist government's policies, which had led to a lot of dilapidation of the country's oil infrastructure. And so right now, Venezuela produces just a small single-digit percentage of the world's oil. But there's a really big long-term opportunity here because of all those reserves. This could potentially be, you know, if the country is able to recover, a real major factor in the global oil market.
Yeah, and we've seen, obviously, other countries play ball in terms of this, but we'll get into that in just a second. But you mentioned in some of the reporting some of these general licenses that would allow companies to do so. You also mentioned certain conditions. Can you get into specifics of what those licenses are and the conditions in which they're allowed to kind of produce this oil?
Yeah, so there's sort of 2 different steps here that the Trump administration is working for.
Now, this is the part that I'm interested in a little bit, and then we're going to kind of move on because we still have 1, 2, 3 stories to get through, and we're at 58 minutes now.
One is the sales of Venezuelan oil, which is sort of the immediate production that is being produced by Venezuela's state oil company right now. And during the blockade that the Trump administration has implemented, the oil has been sort of accumulating, stocking up in these storage tanks in Venezuela. So the first priority is to get that out. And so these licenses that the Trump administration has issued allow global oil companies to come in, even though the country is still under U.S. sanction. So otherwise, without these licenses, they wouldn't be able to go in and help get that oil out.
Interesting. Anyways, now that you guys know that, this is going to be an interesting timeline, I guess, going forward, because India is a part of BRICS, like Steve Easy pointed out. And this is going to definitely hurt BRICS for sure. I mean, it already has, being that Venezuela oil was essentially BRICS oil. That's how that worked, really. And yeah, that alone hurt them. But now Venezuela oil is now being sold back to a BRICS nation like India. That's a big deal. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing the fucking screen. My bad. I was about to play this Groundhog Day thing real quick. We got a clip here. Got to figure out what's happening. It's only 2 minutes, so we'll give them the 2 minutes.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, prognosticator
Real quick, we got Stacks in the building. Shout out to my man. Good morning.
of all prognosticators, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed President Dunkel to the proper scroll, which reads, "It's my great honor to answer your annual call. So I rise again this morning to greet you all. But today I wake thinking of numbers and time. America."
See that thing that this guy's holding right there on his arm? That's a groundhog.
Turns 250 and I'm at least 139. Let's celebrate all, young, old, babies, or millennial, and kick off America's semi-quincentennial. We look to the future and not just the past. So I suppose this party could use a forecast. It is my job this February 2 to look to
Did he? Man, I haven't seen that, but I definitely gotta look into that.
the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
This is so strange. I don't know why this is a thing. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there's history there, but it's very strange. It predicts the arrival of spring. That's interesting. So they're claiming 6 more weeks is what they're saying there. Okay, cool. Whatever. We're moving on. I'm glad that was short. We got a little laugh out of it, you know. All right, we're going to move on, though. Several New Yorkers without power amid brutal cold stretch. Now, this happened yesterday, and thousands of people lost their electricity. They lost power. So that is a big problem, especially in these areas that, you know, up there in the north in particular, where it gets extremely fucking cold. I mean, I thought it was fucking cold here in the south. Holy fuck, man. You guys get it like 10 times colder. It's unreal, actually. But nonetheless, this is when people die and shit. So hopefully they figured this out and they fixed it right away. That's what I'm hoping.
But all right, let's stay with some more of these cold temperatures that are being felt in cities across the country. We're going to head over now to our team at Fox 5 in New York. Jessica Formoso is joining us live now to
What's up, Bree? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
let us know what it's looking like in that area. Jessica, good morning.
Good morning. Well, you know, the residents here, we're in Boerum Hill, Brooklyn, and the residents here are really dealing with a lot because it is brutally cold out here. And the problem they're having is that there is no power. There are a number of power outages. And last I checked, in this area here, we're looking at the live map from Con Edison.
FAFO, good morning to you, as well as Flames. Appreciate you guys for popping up and hanging out with us this morning.
Reporting 2,065 outages here, so customers without power. And you can take a look here in the corner. Con Edison, the emergency truck is is here, and not just in this area, but up and down this block. There are a number of cars of Con Edison trucks here and in the surrounding areas as well. We're being told by residents that they've been without power since Friday. Now, Con Edison has had crews out here working around the clock since yesterday, trying to restore service. The utility company says the wave of outages are because of equipment damage.
What up, GEG? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
Damage from the melting snow mixed with the road salts entering and stressing the system. Aside from all that, Con Edison says snow and ice are piled on top of the manholes, making it hard for crews to gain access for crucial repairs. Now, the outages affecting different parts of Brooklyn. Last night, more than 1,800 customers in Park Slope were without power at one point. While some customers are reporting a total loss of power, others are seeing a portion of their utilities out of commission. We reached out to Con Edison. A spokesperson tells us, in part, quote, the snow left by the storm is significantly slowing restoration efforts in part of Brooklyn. In many locations, nearly a week's worth of compacted snow and ice is piled on top of manholes that crews must access to repair the underground electrical system. Now, we spoke to some residents.
Damn.
Here's what they had to say.
Shit looks rough.
We were thinking we would do another hotel stay, but it's just really tough with our 2 dogs and having to go to work tomorrow and figuring.
Oh, man. Have dogs, got animals, got work. They're like, fuck, where are we going to go? Shit, it's not even a money problem.
Out where to work and how to get to work. So, yeah, we're just kind of taking it as it comes.
I'm lucky. I don't have any heat, but I do have electric in the kitchen, in the bathroom. It's getting colder the longer I go without heat, but I'm kind
Of course, damn.
of sandwiched between 2 higher levels, so my old building actually seems to have some good insulation.
Wow. Good for her.
Now, it's been a week since the snowstorm, and power outages are not the only issue the city is dealing with. Snow removal continues as many sanitation workers have been brought in to clear the snow and ice from streets and sidewalks. City officials say more than 67 million pounds of snow have been melted and over 188 million pounds of salt spread across all 5 boroughs. Now, 14,000 bus stops and 7,000 fire hydrants have been cleared. The mayor says in addition to the 2,500 sanitation workers already working 12-hour shifts, 1,200 more are now assisting in the cleanup. But look, beyond the cleanup, the city is in a code blue for 15 days. The bitter cold has become deadly, leaving those on the streets vulnerable. The death toll of people found outside has reached 14. Mayor Mamdani says
14.
in 8 of the cases, preliminary
14 in New York alone. That's fucking crazy because the total number of deaths right now from this winter was like 30. Now, it probably has changed. That number, it was actually, the official number was 29 last week. Now, by now, it probably has jumped up. I know that there was another one added, a 30th, but dang, that's a lot of people in just one area to lose your life like that from just the cold.
Findings indicate hypothermia played a role. Now the city is canvassing all 5 boroughs to find those who are outside and bring them inside and give them shelter. The medical examiner is still working to determine the cause of death for the other 6 people. We're still waiting for that information. Hopefully we'll get that soon. But back here live, as you see, these are crews, Con Edison emergency crews working around the clock. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen so many crews in just one location because it extends from where we are all the way up the block and then down the other way as well. There's crews, I would say, in every corner here. And I spoke to one woman as she was heading to work. She has a little puppy, tells me that they've been huddled in her living room, just hugging each other just because how cold it is. She tried to get a hotel, but she says it's so expensive she can't afford it. So she's pretty much just sticking it.
I would imagine the hotel prices going up too during times like this. I would imagine they price gouge the fuck out of them, you know, which is so fucked up. I mean, this is not a a political problem or any of that shit. This is a humane problem. When people in our country don't have electricity, it's a problem.
Out. One resident just came out and told us that Con Edison sent an alert saying it won't be fully restored till tomorrow evening. So we're talking.
Wow. So this came out 2 hours ago. So they're saying that it probably won't come back up until tomorrow evening, Tuesday evening, meaning. Damn, dude, that's miserable.
Talking about another day of possible outages here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't wish that at all. I hope they get that figured out like now. That's what needs to happen. Anyways, we're gonna do one of our last updates here because we are past an hour now, ladies and gentlemen, an hour and 8 minutes, which is we try our best to consolidate everything into 1 hour. So But today we're running a little long, so make sure you guys hit the like button for the efforts, man. All right, so we got Hegseth speak to recruits in Florida. Let's go ahead and see what this is about. This is just like right before we started the live stream this morning.
Who ensured that they were raised with the values to recognize that service to something bigger than yourself is worth serving for. That the country, God, country, and the Constitution are worth defending. And so when I travel the country to talk to businesses, and we're on an Arsenal of Freedom tour right now, we're meeting with defense companies all across the country and urging them to go faster, to build more, urgent, to
Damn flames. That's terrible to hear, actually.
feel the urgency of the moment on the behalf of the American people and the American taxpayer. The President of the United States demands that we go faster, that we deliver to the warfighter the capabilities they need. Everywhere we go, we also want to.
Yeah, that's good point, by the way, Steve. Like, these are type of things that is like priority. Like, this needs to take precedence over everything. You know, like when our own people are suffering, it doesn't settle well with me.
See the troops, and if we can, do an enlistment ceremony. Look in the eyes the young Americans who have made the choice to be a part of the real 1%, to be a part of the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen, to do something most of their peers would never, ever do. And I want those cameras in the back to capture the fact that from the highest levels of our country, from the President to the Secretary of War and across, we recognize and appreciate and salute what you are willing to do. Because we believe it's the highest calling you can do in serving our republic. We stand on the shoulders of men and women who've given up the prime years of their life. They got bad knees and bad backs. But they did it because they love their country and they know freedom has to be defended. It's never passed automatically from one generation to another. Someone stands up and defends it. And I see on a lot of these shirts from the Navy 250, we are in the 250th year of our great republic because men and women stood up to defend it. That's the long line that you're a part of. That's the lineage that you're a part of. Yes, you're going to get trained at basic training, tough basic training. You're going to learn a skill, a discrete skill, and be part of a unit that executes a mission. That's true. You're going to have a particular set of skills, as they say. But you're going to be also part of something much larger and much bigger, which is the American story, defending the American homeland, defending American citizens and our people. And so to be here this morning with you is an honor for me, because my job is to serve you. Our job at the Office of the Secretary of War, at the Pentagon, echelons above reality, our job is to serve all of you, to make sure that when you're doing your job, whether it's the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, the National Guard, you name it, you have the weapons you need, the leaders you deserve, the training that's required to be the best of the best, to be the elite. You've done the first big step, which is raise your right hand to say that I'm willing. That already puts you amongst the 1% of our country. Now you're about to be trained and ready and focused inside a formation that is refocused, laser focused on the basics. Training, accountability, discipline, standards, the types of things that have been a hallmark of our military for 250 years. So congratulations to all of you. Appreciate you stepping up. Remember this day and why you did it, because you're going to have a lot of...
And this is a fairly, I shouldn't say very, I should say fairly short speech. It's only 6 minutes total, but we're already halfway through.
Days that you say, man, why did I do this? Because it's tough, and it's supposed to be. And it's not cut out for everybody, but it is cut out for you. So I congratulate you, and I want to thank your parents and those who love you for giving the gift of your child to us. And we couldn't have more respect for that decision, and that means we own the responsibility to do right by them and all the men and women who serve, to ensure that when they're used properly and overwhelmingly and effectively, that we have their backs no matter what. Because I know all of you have had their backs for 18 years or 20 years or 22 years, and now they're stepping up into this incredible new chapter. Thank you to all of you.
Yeah, no kidding, by the way, Steve Easy. That's hilarious.
So God bless. As the president always says, Godspeed. Go forth and do great things, and know that it is deeply appreciated. And it's my job to make sure the American people understand what quality men and women are serving, and then it's our job to have your back when you do it. So how about we enlist some folks in the United States military today? Yeah. Sounds like a plan. All right.
No, I've also, in all fairness to Hegseth here, I do have it sped up at 1.25 times.
Let's start with our National Guard members. Florida National Guard, right here, right? All right. I know enough from speaking not to stand in front of these speakers.
Yes, it's true.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the Governor of the state of Florida, and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the law and regulations. So help me God. Congratulations. Give it up.
All right, so that concludes the morning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for your engagement. You guys hitting the like button, as well as sending donations, all of that, your opinions and your thoughts in the chat. Very much appreciate that. Listen, we're going to be rating our buddy Flow State. Make sure you guys stick around for that. His actual channel name is Powder Dusty. But anyways, let him know we're coming through with an Insane Wheels / Mike Ball raid, whatever. And listen, can't thank you guys enough. Much love and respect to all of you legends. Always appreciate it. And we'll see you guys here very soon. And listen, we'll be back for the World's Madness tomorrow morning, as we always do. So make sure you guys hit that like button, as well as hit that subscribe button. It's what we do Monday through Friday, man. And then Saturday morning for members only. All right, guys. Much love, honor, respect. God bless. And we'll see you guys very soon.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges.